I would imagine your skills as a researcher come in handy because I've read about how you gathered together all the footage necessary to make Diana in her own words,
Yes,
but I haven't read anything about this one specifically. So I was wondering if you could talk about the process for how you
sure.
got all the material for the real right stuff and what challenges you encountered in getting it.
Sure. Well, it's always a challenge because there's when we throw a very wide net, we try and gather everything we can get our hands on. And most of the major national organizations, CBS, NBC, ABC, they have their archives that we can access. And, other places like Associated Press,
Mhm.
Getty has a lot of archival material now. They're one of the big houses. So it's very easy to get the greatest hits, and that's why you see the greatest hits over and over and over again is because most documentary films about, say, this story, for example, all they need are the greatest hits. But we don't have a narrator and we don't have any modern day interviews explaining the story. So we need to go many steps farther than other people look. And one of my favorite things to do that surprisingly is not done very much is go to the local markets where the major events occurred. Like, we were pulling stuff from television stations and radio stations in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
That
Well, nobody
song is
goes to
amazing.
nobody goes to Cocoa Beach, Florida to
Yeah.
look for archive. But guess what? They have, so we would find the photographers. So you as a viewer or the audience would say, oh yeah, I know that event, but I've never seen that angle of that before. I've never seen that extra person there before. And one last thing, I don't know if you remember talking about Cocoa Beach, one of the things we found in the footage was this band called the We Three Trio playing this goofy
Yeah, yeah,
song
yeah.
about the astronauts.
It's amazing.
Well, I got to tell you, that's one of my all-time favorites in anything we've ever done, because it's just like that. It just like completes you. It puts you in the time and place in a way that nothing else can. And of course, no one owns the copyright to this song. And
Yes.
when you put a film out, you have to have everything licensed and cleared. And we went to the ends of the earth to try and license that. And what we wound up doing, this is an example. I know it's a long-winded answer, but it's exactly how we do all of these. We found the names of the three people in the We Three Trio. They had all passed on since then. We couldn't find any of the immediate descendants to kind of sign off on this. So one of our researchers, she's very clever. She wound up calling the funeral home where the guy's funeral was held 20 years ago and said, do you have any records of this family? And they did. And we were able to find this person's son who said, well, yeah, that was my mom, and she did play in that band. And so we were
Did
able
he
to
know
make it.
about that specific song?
He didn't remember that song. He wasn't around, but he loves it now. He thinks it's
Yeah.
amazing. So we were able to get enough of a license to make everyone happy, even though he doesn't own this. No one owns the song, but yet there it is. But you have to be very careful with music. And so, yeah, we called a funeral home to get a license for one of my favorite clips of all time by this obscure little lounge act playing at the Holiday Inn in Cocoa Beach in 1960. Wow. That's how far we go.